Now we're going to embroider the nose and the cheek. Take an orange yarn tail about 20 centimeters, thread a needle. If you make the green one, you should use the yellow yarn. Make a knot on the tail to prevent the yarn from coming out of the body. First, stick your needle into the body. Come through this hole under the eye and 1 or 2 stitch away. Let the knot into the body. Tighten the thread slightly. Then stick like this way. Out of the up hole. Stick needle in this hole. Then come out through this row which is under the eyes. In the middle of the face. Don't pull the yarn too tight. Now embroider the nose. Come through this hole under the eye and 1 stitch away. Repeat the same on the other cheek. Hide the yarn tail inside the body. Cut the yarn. Now we are going to sew the tail onto the body. First, fill it with some stuffing. We sew it from round 17 or 18. You can use the pins to make sure that the tail is in good place. We start from this spot, stick the needle into the body and out through the next hole. Then stick needle out through the next V of the tail. Stick needle into the next V and also stick in the next stitch of the body. Out through the next 5 of the tail. So let's repeat the same thing to sew the tail onto the body. And if it curves, you curve as well. Secure the first stitch again. It doesn't matter if you've already sewn through this V before or not. At last, hide the yarn tail into the piece. Cut the yarn. Now we need to sew the belly piece onto the body. Use the pins to make sure the place first. Find the spot on the body that's being sewn onto, that is directly underneath where the yarn tail's coming out of. Stick needle into the body and out through the next hole. Then stick needle out through the next V of the belly. Stick needle into the next V and also stick in the next stitch of the body. Out through the next 5 of the belly, repeat the same thing to sew the belly onto the body. It's similar to the way of sewing the tail. And if it curves, you curve as well. Secure the first stitch again. Finally, hide the yarn tail into the body. Cut the yarn. Now we are going to sew the hands onto the body. First, fill it with some stuffing. You can sew them on the sides of the body. I prefer them like this. And I use the pins to put them in place before sewing. Let's take a look. It's similar to the way of sewing the tail. We will sew the stitches around. We start from here. You should observe while stitching and adjust the position in time. And we will use the same way to sew the foot and horn. After we finish sewing around, we should hide the yarn into the piece and cut it. Repeat the same on the other side. Now I will show you where to sew the foot on. Place them on both sides of the belly patch. Just like this. Let's take a look. Now use the way of sewing the hand to finish it. Now I will show you where to sew the horns on. It's likely between rounds 4 and 6. And sew them just like the way of the hand. Next, sew the ears under the horns. Like this way. Sew the wings on the back of the body. Pin them like this. Sew them on. Now we finished all the parts of the dragon. Congratulations!